I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul.
That's right. And if you want, regardless how much woman you want, I would have given you that. You have to go take this man one wife, sleep with her and turn around and kill the husband? No, the Lord didn't like that. The Lord is not a God of confusion.
No, he's not.
Go ahead.
Verse 8. And I gave thee thy master's house.
That's right.
And thy master's wives into thy bosom. And gave thee the house of Israel.
That's right.
And of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things.
That's right.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord, to do evil in his sight?
That's right. So what you do is, when you despise the Lord's commandment, you give the enemy an occasion to talk about your God, to put on your God. And the Lord don't like that. Go ahead.
Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword, and hast taken his wife to be thy wife, and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from thine house.
That's right. So the Lord going to put that same sword into his house. Finish that up.
Because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife.
That's right. And that is absolutely wrong. Skip down to verse 13 and go ahead.
And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord.
Woe's me. Go ahead.
And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die.
That's right. Even though the Lord said, you shall not die, he's going to put away your sin. Don't mean you get off. He's going to administrate some kind of punishment to you. Because the wages of sin is death. Go ahead.
Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme.
That's right.
The child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
That's right. That child is going to die. And David is going to get on his knees and pray to the Lord and think he can change the Lord's mind. But what David is completely forgetting, again, is that the Lord did not give Moses a break. Even though Moses begged him to, Lord, let me go see that land. After 40 years leading these hard-headed Israelites, I mess up one time. And no, I can't get to go over and eat some of that good fruit. So we got to keep that in mind so we don't get cut off prematurely. Go ahead. Where are we at?
We just finished verse 14.
Okay, go ahead. Finish verse 14.
We finished verse 14.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish verse 14.
And Nathan departed unto his house. And the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bare unto David, and it was very sick. David therefore besought God for the child. And David fasted and went in and lay all night upon the earth.
That's right.
And
Let's
the elder,
to verse 19. Because the Lord did not answer David. Because the Lord already said the child is going to die. And if the Lord didn't give Moses a break, what make David think he's going to get a break?
Exactly.
So don't think because the Lord pardoned one person, meaning he's going to do the same thing to you. No. This is for your example. Moses was before David, so he should have learned. Verse 19, go ahead.
But when David saw that his servants whispered, David perceived that the child was dead. Therefore David said unto his servants, is the child dead? And they said, he is dead.
Okay, that's good. So now that David got the infection, let's look at how it spread inside his household. So David brought this inside his household. So we're going to see the destruction of this disease and how it affects his son Ammon, his daughter Tamar, and Absalom. So we're going to pick this up skip over to the next chapter. That's chapter 13, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
And it came to pass after this, that Absalom, the son of David, had a fair sister, whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of David, loved her.
That's right. The same burning desire David had for Uriah's wife is the same burning desire Amnon had for his sister. So you see the same thing playing back to David. He's getting the same hand being dealt to him. Go ahead.
And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar.
Oh, he wanted her badly. Go ahead.
For she was a virgin. And Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shemaiah, David's brother. And Jonadab was a very subtle man.
That's right. He's subtle like that slew-foot devil that it was in the Garden of Eden that deceived Eve. So he's going to give him some words of deception because he got an itching ears. So let's skip down to verse 11 and we go ahead.
And when she had brought them unto him to eat, he took hold of her and said unto her, Come lie with me, my sister. And she answered him, Nay, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing ought to be done in Israel. Do not thou this folly?
That's right, sir. He is trying to rape his own sister. That's straight up rape right there.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy tell you how to deal with that issue. Deuteronomy 22:25 tells you how to deal with that. Go ahead.
And I, whither shall I cause my shame to go?
Right.
And as for thee, thou shalt be as one of the fools in Israel.
Who's going to marry to her after you rape her? Because normally a woman is married as a virgin. So, go ahead. Where are we at?
In the middle of verse 13.
Go ahead.
Now therefore, I pray thee, speak unto the king, for he will not withhold me from thee. Howbeit, he would not hearken unto her voice, but being stronger than she, forced her and lay with her.
That's right.
Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred wherewith he hated her was greater than the love wherewith he had loved her. And Amnon said unto her, Arise, be gone.
He treated her like a trash after he finished done what he wanted to do. Arise, get up out of here. That's just cool, right?
Yes, it is.
But the Lord see this, and he's going to weigh on it. And we'll see also what the father will do. Because David has to, Absalom going to be hurt over this because this is his sister. So we shall see what's going to happen. Go ahead. Where we at?
We're at verse 16.
Verse 16. Okay. Verse 16. Okay, let's jump to verse 20. Go ahead and read.
And Absalom, her brother, said unto her, Hath Amnon thy brother been with thee? Behold now thy peace, my sister. He is thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house.
Right. So Absalom tell her sister, look, don't worry about a thing. Because every little thing going to be all right. I'm going to deal with him. I'm going to fix his business. So now Absalom is taking judgment in his own hand. Because revenge is mine, said the Lord. So if he had just waited and allowed the Lord to deal with Amnon and deal with David, because the Lord already told David he's going to put a sword in his house. But the Lord already called this, so it had to happen.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Verse 21.
Verse 21.
But when King David heard of all these things, he was very wroth. And Absalom spake unto his brother Amnon neither good nor bad. For Absalom hated Amnon.
That's right. So David was wrath, but David did not do anything. So that's what, verse 22. So read verse 23. Go ahead.
For Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar. And it came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal Hazor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the king's sons. And Absalom came to the king and said, Behold now, thy servant hath sheep shearers. Let the king, I beseech thee, and his servants go with thy servant. And the king said to Absalom, Nay, my son, let us not all now go, lest we be chargeable unto thee.
So David did not want to go. So go ahead.
And he pressed him. Howbeit, he would not go, but blessed him.
Right. So go, verse 28.
Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, Mark ye now when Amnon's heart is merry with wine. And when I say unto you, Smite Amnon, then kill him. Fear not. Have not I commanded you? Be courageous and be valiant. And the servants of Absalom did unto Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Right. Then all the king's son arose, and every man gat him up upon his mule and fled.
That's right. So Absalom take revenge into his own hand. Absalom was hurt because David did absolutely nothing about Amnon forcing himself upon his sister Tamar, which, today we view that as rape. And Absalom take revenge because David did obviously nothing. So the sword, the curse of the sword, is still in David's house. So the Lord is going to tell David that, look, your neighbor is going to sleep with your wife. So these things are going to happen to you. You did Uriah you did him in privately. You slept with his wife privately. I'm going to make your neighbor sleep with your wife publicly, right in front of everybody. So this is going to be an embarrassment to you and a shame. So we're going to pick up this, jump over to 2 Samuel 15 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead, verse 1.
And it came to pass after this, that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses, and 50 men to run before him. And Absalom rose up early, and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so, that when any man that had a controversy came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him, and said, Of what city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is one of the tribes of Israel. And Absalom said unto him, See, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee.
Right, so Absalom is putting himself in position to overthrow David. Okay, so skip to verse 13. You finish verse, okay, skip to verse 13.
And there came a messenger to David, saying, The hearts of men of Israel are after Absalom. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, Arise, and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword.
That's right. So David is running for his life now. So David had lost his throne through his son because of what he had done. So David is fleeing for his life. Now look at the counsel. We're going to look at the counsel of Ahithophel. The counsel that Ahithophel gave to Absalom. And we're going to look at, are these the same words the Lord told David? And these are the same things that come to pass? So we're going to pick up this at 2 Samuel 16 and verse 21. Are we doing on time? Okay. Okay. 16 and 21. So you're going to see the same thing the Lord going to play in front of David. Go ahead.
And Ahithophel said unto Absalom, Go in unto thy father's concubines.
That's right.
Which he hath left to keep the house. And all Israel shall hear that thou art abhorred of thy father. Then shall the hands of all that are with thee be strong. So they spread Absalom a tent upon the top of the house. And Absalom went in unto his father's concubines in the sight of all Israel.
That's right. So this came to pass. The Lord didn't tell him that it was going to be his son. He told him it was going to be his neighbor. But it happened to be his son. One that's homeborn. So I'm sure David, as a man, David got to be hurt. Because we all know what a broken heart feels like, right? All right, so we're going to pick this up. We're going to jump to chapter 17, and we're going to pick it up at verse 14, because Absalom's disease caused him to commit suicide. And now that he commits suicide, now he caused himself to be removed from the book of life. So he died in his sin. Go ahead. So Ushiah counsel defeat Ahithophel. So we're going to pick up this at chapter 17 and go ahead at verse 14.
And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, The counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. For the Lord had appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom.
That's right. So Absalom got to pay the piper now. Skip to 16 and go ahead.
Now therefore send quickly and tell David, saying, Lodge not this night in the plains of the wilderness, but speedily pass over, lest the king be swallowed up, and all the people that are with him. Now Jonathan and Ahimaaz.
Go ahead. If you finish, that's verse 17.
I'm at verse 17.
Okay, go ahead. Finish up verse 17.
Stayed by Enrogel, for they might not be seen to come into the city. And a wench went and told them, and they went and told King David. Nevertheless, a lad saw them and told Absalom, but they went both of them away quickly, and came to a man's house in Bahurim, which had a well in his court.
Okay, skip to verse 23.
And when Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his ass and arose and got him home to his house, to his city, and put his household in order, and hanged himself and died, and was buried in a sepulchre of his father.
That's right. So he committed murder. He hanged himself. Okay. So Absalom made his father's problem become his by taking judgment into his own hand. So we're going to look we're going to skip over to chapter 18 and pick it up at verse 1. Chapter 18, verse 1. Go ahead.
And David numbered the people that were with him, and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. And David sent forth a third part of the people under the hand of Joab.
So the battle against David recovering his kingdom is on. So he's going to fight Absalom. Go ahead.
And the third part under the hand of Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother. And the third part under the hand of Ittai, the Gittite. And the king said unto the people, I will surely go forth with you myself also.
All right, skip to verse 5.
And the king commanded Joab and Abishai and Ittai, saying, deal gently for my sake with the young man.
So David wanted to show mercy even up until this point to his son, because David realized that he was the reason why all this befall his son Absalom and Amnon. Go ahead and read.
Even with Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains charge concerning Absalom. So the people went out into the field against Israel, and the battle was in the wood of Ephraim, where the people of Israel were slain before the servants of David. And there was there a great slaughter that day of 20,000 men. For the battle was there scattered over the face of all the country. And the wood devoured more people that day than the sword devoured.
So the Lord participated in this battle. So the wood killed more people than the battle did. So the Lord is on David's side. So when the Lord is with you, who can be against you? Exactly. So the thing is, even when you fall, you got to rise. You got to ask the Lord for forgiveness. And he's merciful. He'll forgive your sin.
Yes, he will.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. And Absalom met the servants of David. And Absalom rode upon a mule. And the mule went under the thick boughs of a great oak. And his head caught hold of the oak. And he was taken up between the heaven and the earth. And the mule was under him, went away. And a certain man saw it, and told Joab, and said, behold, I saw Absalom hang in an oak.
So are they going to listen to what David said? Are they going to show Absalom some mercy? Nah, go ahead.
And Joab said unto the man.
Skip down to verse 14.
Then said Joab, I may not tarry thus with thee. And he took 3 darts in his hand, and thrust them through the heart of Absalom, while he was yet alive in the midst of the oak.
That's right. So you see, when this disease take over your mind, or it destroy your family, so it's important that these fallen angels, 1/3 of them, we not allow them to persuade our mind. So we always use the shield of faith before us, so it can block them fiery darts that come in from the devil. All right, where are we at?
We're at verse 15.
Verse 15. Okay, once you finish verse 15, jump to verse 17. Go ahead.
And 10 young men that bare Joab's armor compassed about, and smote Absalom, and slew him. And they took Absalom, and cast him into a great pit in the wood, and laid a very great heap of stones upon him. And all Israel fled, every one to his tent.
That's right. Absalom had a bitter ending. So the progression of the disease is caused by being disobedient and rebellious, which individuals bring into the family circle and destroy the members of that family. A pandemic effect is a wide geographical area, for example, a continent. We will investigate this pandemic outbreak, how the Lord deals with quarantine, his method of quarantine, and how does that works. So let's look at Genesis 6, because we're going to see if all this flooding was able to change the mind of the people, because the whole purpose of the Lord getting man's attention is to bring up some righteous people, to bring forth his word.
Yes.
Because they fell in the Garden of Eden because they were supposed to become God. So that's why that lesson last week, be created and how you to become God. No, that's where we at right now. We could have already become God. But Adam dropped the ball. So let's pick up this at verse 1. The flood. This pandemic that take over the entire world and how the Lord had to deal with it. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years.
That's right. The Lord cut down the years because they're becoming so wicked. Skip to verse 5.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Man, I always think evil. Continuously. Go ahead.
And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth.
That's right.
And it grieved him at his heart.
Yep. Grieve him at his heart. Go ahead.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast.
Whoa. So the man got the beast in trouble. So the beast got to die with the man. Go ahead.
And the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them.
Yeah, but the Lord is merciful. He looked down and he saw one man, one righteous man. That's the mercy of this God. Go ahead.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations.
That's right.
And Noah walked with God.
That's right. Noah walked with God. So because Noah walked with God, look at his great reward. Verse 17.
And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh wherein is the breath of life, from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee.
That's right. So the Lord quarantined Noah and his family inside the ark. And the Lord is going to eradicate all those infected people. He's going to wipe them out. So that's how the Lord deals with people who cannot be rehabilitated. Total destruction, the only solution. And ain't no use. Ain't no one going to stop them because they're going to continue on the same thing. You teach the wicked, you become wicked still. All right, so after the Lord destroyed all the infected people worldwide, he salvaged Noah and his family only. There should be no man with the conscience for sin throughout the generations. But Noah's grandson did not take heed to the destruction that took place. So let's pick this up at Genesis 18. So we're going to look at Nimrod, the mighty hunter in the world. The mighty hunter. Go ahead. Genesis 18, pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead.
And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground.
Right. So what's going to take place is that Nimrod is going to infect all these people with his foolishness and cause the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So skip, you finish the second verse, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to skip to 20.
And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein?
That's right. So the Lord going to always have mercy to spare the righteous, because the Lord always have his eyes on the righteous. Go ahead and read verse 25, and we're going to skip to 28.
That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?
That's right. So we're going to skip to verse 28.
Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? He said, if I find 5, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
That's right. So let's skip to 31.
And he said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake.
That's right. He will not destroy it for 20's sake. He will have mercy. So read to 32. And
he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake.
So the Lord ended up destroying Sodom and Gomorrah and saved only Lot and his daughters. Now Lot's wife, she was so badly infected that she couldn't even leave that place. So that is an example for us that when we think about the wilderness and we're going to think about trying to head there, that we don't let the cares of this world keep us from making it. So that's how the Lord deal with that epidemic issue when it comes to Nimrod spreading his disease from Noah all the way through Abraham. So now we're going to look at, we're going to jump to Matthew. We're going to go to the new book. We're going to look at Matthew 8. And we're going to look at how the disease affect, how the disease destroy the skin, how it causes leprosy. This is the same disease that affects us in the old book, still affects us in the new book. This is the sin, the most deadliest disease known to mankind. Cause and effect. We see what caused it. Disobedience caused it. We seen the effect, how it destroyed the family, how it destroyed David. So now we are going to jump to Matthew 8. Matthew 8. Matthew 8. Okay, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Go ahead. Verse 1. We're going to read verse 1, 2, 3. Go ahead.
When he was come down from the mountain, great multitudes followed him. And behold, there came a leper and worshipped him, saying, Lord, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean. And Jesus put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean.
That's right.
And immediately his leprosy was cleansed.
That's right. So Jesus cleansed his leprosy. This is another manifestation of sin manifesting itself through the body and destroying it. So you can physically see the hurt and the pain that sin causes. So the Lord always gives us a way out.
Yes, it does.
So let's skip to verse 28, and we're going to pick that up. Verse 28, we're going to look at some devils, or Jesus is going to drive these devils out. Some of these devils that fall on the earth that we read in Revelation. Go ahead.
And when he was come to the other side into the country of the Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with devils, coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time?
That's right. These devils were ripping this man up. Go ahead and finish that out.
And there was a good way off from them a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine.
That's right.
And he said unto them, Go.
Go.
And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine. And behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled, and went their ways into the city, and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coast.
That's right. So Jesus had to drive out these same devils that fall on the earth, that is influencing the mind of men. He had to drive them out. So now we're going to look at a boy who lost his speech and his hearing. That's another way that this disease affects you. It can cause you to lose your hearing. It can cause you to lose your speech. So we're going to look at this in Mark 9. Mark 9. Sin is the most deadliest disease known to mankind. And this is the things that it does to us. It destroys us inside out. Mark 9. And we're going to pick up this at verse 17. Mark 9, verse 17. Go ahead.
And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him. He teareth him, and he foameth, and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. And he answered him, and saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him, and when he saw him, straightway the spirit tear him, and he fell on the ground, and wallowed foaming. And he asked his father, How long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, Of a child, and oftentimes it hath cast him into the fire.
Right, this is those same fallen angel. That's why the book tells, you have some people who believe in witchcraft. That's who they deal with, these fallen angels. Go ahead.
And into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Jesus said unto him, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Right. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help thou mine unbelief.
Right. Strengthen my unbelief, Lord. Strengthen my unbelief. Some of us need our unbelief to be strengthened, so we can have that faith to keep on keeping on. Go ahead.
When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto him, Thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried, and rent him sore, and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, He is dead.
That's right.
But Jesus took him by the hand, and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, Why could not we cast him out? And he said unto them, This kind can come forth by nothing, but by prayer and fasting.
That's right. So that's the only way sometimes we can deal with certain issues. Sometimes we got to fast, and we got to pray. So because praying alone sometimes can't remove those evil spirits. You got to do some serious fasting. So we're gonna look at a husband and wife, how they decide to deceive the apostles and think that they could get away with it. So, sometimes people think that they're so smart that they would smart their own self. So check these couple out. We're going to go to Acts 5. Acts 5 and 1. So you got to be careful what you say. So Acts 5 and 1. So you see, once those spirits start talking into your ears, there goes your judgment. So Acts 5 and 1. Go ahead at verse 1.
But a certain man named Ananias, with Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession, and kept back part of the price, his wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why hath Satan filled thine heart to lie to the Holy Ghost, and to keep back part of the price of the land? Whilst it remained, was it not thine own?
That's right. It was your own. It belongs to you. So you have no need to lie.
And after it was sold, was it not in thine own power?
That's right.
Why hast thou conceived this thing in thine heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto God.
That's right.
And Ananias, hearing these words, fell down, and gave up the ghost.
So he died in his sin. So when you die in your sin, there is no forgiveness right there. The only thing you have looking forward to is the lake of fire. And that's a sad thing when you die in your sin. Because ain't no prayer can go up for you, and ain't no prayer can come down for you. Go ahead, my brother.
And great fear came on all them that heard these things. And the young men arose, wound him up, and carried him out, and buried him. And it was about the space of 3 hours after.
Here comes his wife.
When his wife, not knowing what was done, came in. And Peter answered unto her, Tell me whether ye sold the land for so much. And she said, Yea, for so much. Then Peter said unto her, How is it that ye have agreed together to tempt the Spirit of the Lord? Behold, the feet of them which have buried thy husband are at the door, and shall carry thee out. Then fell she down straightway at his feet, and yielded up the ghost.
So she died the same way her husband died. She allowed her husband to cause her to lose her way. Just like Adam did not protect his own soul, causing the devil, making the devil to be his head. Okay, finish up verse 10.
And the young men came in and found her dead, and carrying her forth, buried her by her husband.
That's right. So she died in her sin. So remember, Adam brought this disease in the world that called sin. So now Jesus had to return and come through Mary to remove this sin. One man had the first man had him, and the second man, the first man, Jesus, who died. So let's pick up this in Romans 5. So now Jesus returned. So Jesus is going to show us the cure. All right, so verse, 5 more minutes, right? Okay. All right, go ahead. Verse 12.
Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned.
That's right.
For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. But not as the offense, so also is the free gift. For if through the offense of one many be dead,
That's right.
much more the grace of God, the gift by grace, which is by one man, Jesus Christ, hath abounded unto many. And not as it was by one that sinned, so is the gift. For the judgment was by one to condemnation, but the free gift is of many offenses unto justification. For if by one man's offense death reigned by one, much more they which receive abundance of grace and of the gift of the righteousness shall reign in life by one, Jesus Christ.
That's right. So where are we at right there?
We're at verse 18.
Verse 18. Okay, that's good. So let's go to Hebrews 10. Let's see how to treat this disease. Hebrews 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 20. The Lord is going to show us how to treat this disease. Hebrews 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 20. You're going to read to verse 22. Hebrews 10 and 22. 10 and 22. Okay, Hebrews 10, go ahead and pick it up at verse 20, and we're going to read to 22. Go ahead.
By a new and living way, which he hath consecrated for us, through the veil, which is to say, his flesh, and having a high priest over the house of God, let us draw near with a true heart and full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience,
That's right.
and our bodies washed with pure water.
That's right. So we have to be washed by the water of the word in order to be clean, to rid us from this disease that not even the CDC can find a cure for. So let's go to Revelation 22, and we're going to pick it up at verse 16. Revelation 22 and 16. Revelation 22, we just got 2 more scriptures and that's it. Revelation 22 and 16, because we have to wash our body of this disease called sin. And the Lord is merciful. He always gives us an out. So, verse 16. Go ahead and read.
I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches.
Did I say 22 and 16, right?
Yes,
22
sir.
and 16? 22 and 16, okay. All right, go ahead.
I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches.
That's right.
I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, come.
That's
and,
right.
And let him that heareth say, come.
And who is athirst? Go ahead.
And let him that is athirst come.
That's
and whosoever will, let him take the water of life freely.
That's right. The Lord always treats you like you're a free agent, and the Lord will not bound you to take this water. So whosoever will, let him come. Because this is the eternal, this water give you eternal life. So let's go to John 3 and 5. One verse, John 3 and 5. John 3 and 5. One verse. John 3 and 5. John 3 and 5. Go ahead. Then how can we enter it? How can a man enter into eternal life? John is going to tell us how a man can enter into eternal life. Go ahead.
Jesus answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God.
That's right. So those who said they don't believe in the water baptism, Jesus is telling you that, hey, you got to be born of the water. You got to be washed. You're going to have to be washed with this word. So what is the old duty of man? What is his purpose now that he's far from grace? Let's go to Ecclesiastes 6:12, and you're going to pick it up at 13. One verse, my brother. Okay. Give me that one verse. Oh, okay, I hear you. All right. That's my timer. Okay. All right. Got you. All right. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, just one verse. Go ahead and read.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
That's right. And that's the only way we're going to rid ourselves of this menacing disease that keep us from becoming God. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit say unto the churches. I hope someone was edified by this lesson, and I thank you for your time.